It was 4:42 a.m. when the clang of metal echoed through the sleeping barracks of Fort Ridge. The lights were still dim, the kind of half-lit hush before sunrise when even the most disciplined soldiers clung to the last moments of sleep. But James Walker, a 42-year-old single dad working maintenance for the base, was already on duty. The Army base was a fortress of discipline, pride, and steel. But James, he was a civilian. A man with calloused hands, faded denim overalls, and a wrench, always tucked behind his ear. Widowed for over a decade, he was raising his teenage daughter Ellie on his own. Every job he did fixing broken pipes, leaky ceilings, or faulty boilers was for her. She wanted to be a soldier one day, and James wanted to give her every chance to succeed. This morning, a heating system in the West Barracks had malfunctioned again. He walked the dim corridor silently, toolbox in hand, nodding to a few early risers jogging outside. As he turned the corner to Barrack 5B, he noticed something strange, one door slightly ajar. That wasn't normal. These soldiers were trained for precision, discipline. No one left a door open. Curiosity tugged at him, and he stepped closer, inside. Sitting on the floor, her head buried between her knees, was a young female soldier. She was trembling. James instinctively paused at the threshold. He softly knocked on the doorframe. "You okay, soldier?" The girl looked up, startled, and immediately tried to wipe away her tears. Her hands moved too quickly, as if trying to erase evidence of her emotions, but James saw it. Her red, puffy eyes, the way her lower lip quivered. "I'm sorry, sir," she muttered quickly. Standing up, "Don't call me sir, I just fixed boilers," James said gently. "And you don't need to hide tears from me. I raised a daughter, I know the look." The young soldier's name tag read, Rivers. She hesitated, unsure whether to speak or bolt. James stepped inside slowly. "You're not in trouble. But you're clearly not okay." She sat back down, crossing her arms tightly over her knees. "I'm Private First Class Emily Rivers. Been here 3 months." James nodded. "I've seen you around. You jog past the motor pool every morning." She tried to smile but failed. "You want to talk?" James asked, setting down his toolbox. Emily opened her mouth. Nothing came out. Then suddenly she whispered, "I don't belong here." James tilted his head. "I trained for this for 2 years," she said, her voice cracking. "I worked harder than anyone in my class. Top scores, letters of recommendation. But no one here respects me. They whisper, they laugh. Some say I only got in because I'm a sympathy case." James stayed quiet, allowing her the space to continue. "My mom was a decorated officer. She died in combat. Everyone knows it. I thought they'd respect me for trying to follow in her footsteps, but instead, I'm just her ghost." Silence. James sat beside her. "You know, ghosts scare people because they remind them of something they've lost or don't understand." Emily looked at him, confused. "My wife Ellie's mom died in an accident when Ellie was 6. For a while, people didn't know how to treat us. Some pitied us. Some avoided us. Some told Ellie she'd never be the same without her mom. But she proved them wrong." Tears welled up again in Emily's eyes. James placed a comforting hand on her shoulder. "You're not your mom, you're you. And from what I see, you're already braver than most. Crying isn't weakness, kid. It's proof that you care." That morning, James didn't fix the heater in Barrack 5B. Instead, he fixed something far more broken: Emily's faith in herself. Words leaks that followed were different for Emily Rivers. Not because the harsh routines of military life softened, or because the whispers suddenly stopped, but because she had someone quietly rooting for her, someone who knew pain and resilience intimately. James Walker never overstepped, never patronized her, but his presence was constant. A silent supporter who understood how the weight of grief could feel heavier in the silence. James found more excuses to walk past Barrack 5B. Sometimes it was a squeaky hinge, sometimes a leaky faucet. Emily would nod in acknowledgement, her eyes clearer each day. And when she had a bad day, like the time her drill sergeant berated her in front of everyone for missing a step, she found a note in her boot locker. It read, "Mistakes build muscle, so does standing back up." J? He never signed more than just the J. Ellie, James's daughter, noticed the change in her father, too. You smile more now, she said one evening as they ate leftover lasagna. James looked up. Do I? Yeah, like, someone you care about is finally okay. James didn't answer. He just nodded, a soft warmth in his chest he hadn't felt. In years. Emily pushed harder in her training. Quietly determined, she started finishing her laps faster, holding her rifle steadier. And she began to speak up. When one of her fellow cadets mocked another female recruit, Emily stood up and called him out. Her words were firm, respectful, and unshakably strong. Word spread. Eventually she caught the attention of Major Callahan. One day after drills, he called her into his office. You're the Rivers girl? He asked, flipping through her file. Yes. Sir, your mother was a legend, but I hear you're trying to make your own name. Emily stiffened, unsure where this was going. I respect that. Keep it up. Outside, James waited near the motor pool. Emily ran to him, excitement bursting through her eyes. He said I'm making my own name, she whispered. James smiled. You already did, Emily. Weeks turned into months. When family day rolled around, Emily stood alone, watching other recruits embrace their parents. Then she felt a familiar tap on her shoulder. James. He stood there awkwardly with Ellie, holding a homemade sign that read, You got this, soldier. Tears flowed again, but this time they were different. That day Emily introduced James to her squad as my second dad. It was the highest honor James had ever received. And for the first time in many years, a part of his heart-long shut began to open. Emily wasn't just another young soldier. She was family. And this time, James didn't have to fix a heater to make things better. He just had to be there.